With Warlords of Draenor right around the corner, now is as good a time as any to brush up on your lore of the heroes and villains we will encounter in World of Warcraft's upcoming expansion. Today we meet Durotan, an orc whose story is tragically heroic. As the leader of the Frostwolf clan, Durotan would do anything to protect his people, even if it means compromising his own beliefs. But let's start from the beginning. Durotan was the son of Frostwolf chieftain Garad and was destined to be a leader from the moment of his birth. Aside from being heir to his clan, Durotan was different from the other orcs. He cared deeply about the world and those living in it. This sensitivity could have been the signs of being a shaman, but for Durotan it was just the way he was. In those days, orcs didn't befriend orcs in other clans. In fact, they rarely even interacted, meeting up just twice a year in Nagrand to discuss various matters and allow the shaman of each clan to commune with the ancestors on top of Oshu'gun. But, as I said before, Durotan was different. Before his rite of passage, his first solo hunt, he snuck out at night to see what the adults were up to. This adolescent rebellion led to Durotan meeting Orgrim, son of Telkhar Doomhammer of the Blackrock clan. The two became friends, ignoring the boundaries of clans. The two young orcs often competed in friendly feats of strength, and one such foot race led them into the forest of Terakar. Before Orgrim could celebrate his win over Durotan, an ogre appeared, sending them both fleeing for safety. Reaching the edge of the hidden Draenei city Telmor, blue-skinned guards armed with bows shot down the ogre, saving the two orcs from certain demise. Restalan, the leader of the Draenei guard, offered the young orcs food and shelter for the night. He whispered magical words into a crystal and the city appeared before them, as if from thin air. Restalan informed Durotan and Orgrim that staying in Telmor that night was the leader of the Draenei, the prophet Valen, who had invited them to dine with him. The two young orcs spent the evening with Valen, Orgrim speaking of the strength of his bloodline and his father's weapon Doomhammer. Durotan mostly listened, watching Valen's reactions to Orgrim's tales. While interested, the prophet also seemed saddened at the countless stories of battle and bloodshed. After their meeting, both orcs slept peacefully and returned to Nagrand in the morning. Skipping forward a bit in the story, Durotan completed his first solo hunt and was initiated into his clan as an adult. Soon after, the shaman of the Frostwolf clan took him to Oshu'gun as requested by the ancestors. It was determined that while Durotan was not destined to be a shaman, it was prophesied that from his line would come salvation. Not long after the prophecy, Durotan met his future wife Draka. And shortly after that, Durotan's father, Garad, was killed in battle, leaving Durotan to lead and protect the Frostwolf clan. The war chief of Draenor, Ner'zhul, believed the Draenei to be enemies of the orcs. He wanted to unite the orc clans to fight together against the Draenei. Durotan didn't know what to make of that situation. Of course, he relished the idea of the orc clans being united, but from his personal experience, he didn't see the Draenei as the enemy. The things they had done and the way that they had treated himself and Orgrim did not prove any malice or wrongdoing. Ner'zhul recognized Durotan's reluctance and wanted to test his loyalties. He asked Durotan to meet once again with the prophet Valen and take him prisoner. Durotan agreed, but when faced with the task, he decided to let Valen go and took the crystals which would reveal the magical Draenei city instead. When Durotan delivered the crystals to the war chief, Ner'zhul felt a strange, unfamiliar inkling of guilt, as if something were terribly wrong. Kil'jaeden had tricked Ner'zhul and countless others into believing that the Draenei were the enemy. Upon discovering Ner'zhul's wavering loyalties, Kil'jaeden replaced him with Gul'dan as his favored servant. Ner'zhul's powers were stripped from him. This was just the beginning of the orcish race's spiral into corruption. The elements refused to speak to the shaman, and the new dark warlock magic was introduced. Durotan was angry at Kil'jaeden, Gul'dan, and the new leader of the united horde, Blackhand. He was angry that they had corrupted countless orcs with fell magic, angry that the children of his clan were unnaturally aged by dark magic, angry that even those loyal to the corrupt leaders were tossed aside as soon as they finished their commanded tasks. And this rage did not go unnoticed, and Durotan's loyalty to the horde was tested once again. This time he was ordered to destroy Telmor, the peaceful Draenei city which had offered him and Orgrim hospitality so many years ago. If Durotan refused to complete the task, he knew the lives of himself, his wife, his entire clan would be forfeit. So he did the only thing he could do to protect his people. He obeyed. The clans of the Horde poured into Telmore, systematically destroying it. Durotan met once again with Restalon, the Draenei who had saved his life, and he gave him a swift, merciful death. The carnage sickened him, and a small part of him wished that death had taken him instead. Not long after, Durotan received a letter from Ner'zhul. The missive told him he'd be asked to drink the blood of twisted souls that would enslave him forever, and he must refuse. And refuse is exactly what Durotan did. He defied Gul'dan, Blackhand, and the rest of the Horde by refusing to drink the blood of Mannoroth, as did his friend Orgrim. The blood of Mannoroth was the undoing of the orcs. Those who drank became fueled by bloodlust until they destroyed the city of Shattrath and eventually crossed the dark portal into Azeroth. Durotan and the Frostwolves also took the portal, though in the New World they were exiled as disgraces. Durotan went on to father a child with Draka, an orc who you may know as Thrall. Shortly after the birth of their baby, Durotan and Draka visited Orgrim, who had recently killed Blackhand and taken his place as war chief of the Horde. During this visit, Durotan told Orgrim of Gul'dan's alliance with Kil'jaeden. Not without Gul'dan's spies hearing this. Gul'dan's assassins killed Durotan and Draka on the way back to their camp after their visit with Orgrim. Their baby was left alone in the woods, later to be found and raised as a slave. We all know that from his line, from Thrall, came salvation, but Durotan never lived to see it. At least until Warlords of Draenor, that is.